And we're back with you now on WZBN News. This is Mercer County Close-Up. Millions of Americans struggle, shall we say, from being overweight, whether it's a little bit or a lot. A very well-known individual from Hamilton Township who has become even more famous on a global platform in the last couple of years recently released a book about his own challenges being an overweight individual earlier in life. Fat Kid Got Fit, You Can Too is a book released by a new author, if you will, Bill Baroni. He is, of course, well known around Hamilton because he is a former senator and is now with the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, and he's our guest today on Mercer County Close-Up. Bill, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, tell me about the book. I mean, obviously a lot of people around here who knew you growing up probably understand why you decided to write it. What was the reason for writing it?
Well, about 4 years ago, I had decided to put down and write down my experience of being a heavy kid. I look back at pictures when I was at Langtree Elementary School here in Hamilton, and I look at my third grade picture, and I can see the one kid in the picture who was overweight was me. And all through elementary school and high school at Steiner, I was always the heaviest kid, and I got heavier and heavier. And right after college, I was a driver for the Speaker of the State Assembly, Chuck Hytaian. And at some point during the campaign, I remember I was at an event at the Meadowlands, and I was having chest pains. I was 20 years old.
Wow.
I was having chest pains, and I realized at that moment that I wasn't going to make it. Like, I wasn't going to live to be 30 or 40. I'd never be able to, do the things I wanted to do in life because I was so heavy. So in November of 1994, I went to Duke University's Diet and Fitness Center in Durham, North Carolina.
Yes.
Spent a month there. I checked in at 312 pounds. And every number, not just my weight, my cholesterol number, my triglycerides, my blood pressure, all of it was the indication of someone who wasn't going to make it to be 40 years old like I am today. So through the 4 weeks I spent there at Duke and then being back here in Hamilton, I lost 130 pounds. And I wanted to write it down because, for a number of reasons. One, just to tell the story of how I did it and tell the story of what it was like to be a heavy kid. But also talk about ways, common sense, easy things people can do to lose weight and to get into shape. I spent a lot of time in the book talking about one of the great things about this area was the support network you could have to lose weight and get in shape. Robert Wood Johnson Center for Health and Wellness, which wasn't open at the time, and at the time the Hamilton YMCA, that were so supportive in efforts to lose weight and to get into shape. Because the biggest fallacy, I talk a lot about this in the book, is it's not a diet. If you would have said to me in November of 1994, you need to lose 130 pounds, I would have said, you're crazy. I could never lose 130 pounds. That's diet thinking.
Sure.
Lifestyle thinking is lose a pound. And you say to anybody, do you think you can lose a pound this week? Sure. And once that light bulb went off, that it wasn't something I was going to do for 3 months and then go back to eating the way I was at fast food places and eating whatever I wanted and never working out, but I would change my life completely, become a different person. That's what I write about in the book.
Right. I mean, when you think about it today, there are all kinds of suggestions. If you drink enough water, about 64 ounces a day, that'll help you lose 1 pound to 2 pounds a week with no exercise. But of course, exercise is something we should try and implement into our lifestyles. It was really a lifestyle change. Those that, say are not overweight, do you think that there's still a target market for somebody who might be at or even below their proper weight, but they'd still get a lot out of reading this book?
Well, it's very hard to find anybody who either isn't overweight, knows someone who's overweight, related to somebody who's overweight, has an overweight kid in the family. It's very hard because it's becoming so endemic across the country, the number of people like me who battle weight. And I say that on purpose because it is a lifestyle. It's something you're always going to deal with. It's an issue that I'm always going to wrestle with. And something you just said, you could take this book and hundreds of pages in the book and boil it down to two things. Eat healthy and exercise more. And for all of the shakes and pills and powders and videos and machines you can buy on TV, it really just comes down to those two things. And I spent a lot of time talking about the diet industry. This industry of people that preys on people. And what it really comes down to is eat healthier, not starve yourself to lose 10 pounds, but build a healthier lifestyle, build in water, like you said, and just take sort of common sense, both fitness and nutrition tips. And I spend a lot of time in the book, there's probably 50 or so tips in the book about things that we all can do to make those measured changes in our lives. And because of that, so I wrote the book, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have people who want to sort of see how I did it. But it's something we're all affected by. But also in the book, I talk about public policy. I talk about my story. I talk about ways people can lose weight. But I also talk about public policy. I was in the legislature, voted against it, led the fight against it, when one of the dumbest things ever happened in politics I've seen is that the legislature under Governor Corzine taxed gym memberships. They put a tax on joining the YMCA, a tax on joining the Robert Wood Johnson facility. Now, they've rolled some of that back, but that's just dumb public policy. We want to encourage people to eat healthy. We want to encourage people to work out. We should be letting people deduct their gym memberships from their taxes, not tax them for it.
Right.
And that's one of the things I write about in the book, and I think that people have seen that and sort of reacted to that.
Great. You think about, you know, all the gyms out there that allow you to join for as little as under $20 a month nowadays, and of course with Valentine's having just passed, I know that one gym offers, you know, couples, if they go in and sign up as a tandem, that they can get a nice discount. You know, we won't say what that is. You can try and find it on your own. But I mean, the book itself, you know, by the way, Fat Kid Got Fit, You Can Too. I believe it is your first book that you've written. I understand there's also an event, since you mentioned RWJ's Health and Wellness Facility on Quaker Bridge Road here in Hamilton Township. There's an event coming up where you'll be there and you'll be signing copies of the book, I understand?
Saturday the 25th of February from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Robert Wood Johnson Center for Health and Wellness right over here on Quaker Bridge Road. Those of us who've been from Hamilton for a long time, the old Clover Shopping Center.
Yes.
You can go there, and I'm going to be signing books and give a little talk. But that's a great example. That center is a great example of, I mean, it's a gym. It's got lots of great equipment, but it's also got great trainers and great staff that people from, one of the stories that I tell in the book is when I first got back from Duke and I wanted to join a gym, I mean, one of the ironies is thin people look at heavy people and say, you know, usually go to the gym. And then I went to one of these sort of tough guy metal gyms, and you walk in, and then the same thin people who thought you should go to the gym, you walk in, and they look at you funny. Like, what are you doing here? The great thing about the Robert Wood Johnson Center for Health and Wellness is it welcomes everybody at all phases of fitness, from people who have 4% body fat and perfect everything, to people like me who were, when I came back from Duke, were just trying to build a healthy lifestyle. So they asked if I would come over and spend some time there, and of course I'm a member there, so I work out there a lot, and so it's important, and we need to do, there's no one secret. That's the diet thinking. The diet industry wants to think there's one pill, one shake, one drink, one something that will solve all the world's problems when it comes to weight. There isn't.
No.
You need as many different ways to battle the issues of weight, and one of the great things about that center is they give you a lot of options.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, thanks so much for being our guest, and we hope that the event on the 25th goes well for you, as well as book sales.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much.
Bill Baroni, longtime senator from this district, if you will, from Mercer County, a native Hamiltonian now working at the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, recently just released a book, Fat Kid Got Fit, You Can Too. Visit the RWJ Health and Wellness Center on Quaker Bridge Road, Saturday the 25th of this month, February. You'll be able to meet Bill, get your book copy signed. I'm sure, of course, pick up the book if you don't already have it. And definitely, if you haven't made a New Year's resolution yet, we're well over a month into the new year, but try to stay healthy if you can. If you're not already, make a good resolution to just stay fit and eat and exercise well. I'm Mark Fontes. Thanks so much for being our guest on this Mercer County Close-Up. We'll see you again really soon.